949 Herman I, Duke of Swabia. In 1198 Averroes, Arab physician and philosopher b. 1126. In 1490 Antoine Haneron, Burgundy diplomat, dies at about 90. In 1508 Roman II, Duke of Lorraine, dies at 57. In 1572 Cornelis Musius, Dutch humanist poet, murdered at 72. In 1595 Reynier Cant, Mayor of Amsterdam, dies at about 59. In 1616 Diogo Ducarto, Portuguese historian archivist of Gore, dies at 74. In 1618 Giulio Caccini, Italian composer, buried at 67. In 1626 Edmund Gunter, English mathematician b. 1581. In 1638 Ivan V. Dzivo F. Gulik, Dalmatian writer Osman, dies at 49. In 1665 Tarquinio Mercula, Italian violinist, organist, and Baroque composer, dies at 70. In 1736 António Manoel de Vilhena, Portuguese ruler of Malta b. 1663. In 1746 Teodorico Pedrini, also known as Derlige, Italian Vincentian priest, musician, composer, and missionary at the Imperial Court of China 1711-46, dies at 75. In 1749 Gabrielle Chôtelet La Belle Emily, French writer Voltaire, dies at 42. In 1774 Phil Gottlieb Muffat, German court organist and composer, dies at 80. In 1805 Friedrich Franz Hôrka, Bohemian operatic tenor, conductor, and composer, dies at 43. In 1808 James Sullivan, 7th Governor of Massachusetts 1807-08, dies at 64. In 1826 Benedikt Schack, Bohemian Austrian singer, composer, and friend of Wolfgang Mozart originated role of Tamino in Die Zauberflöte, dies at 68. In 1831 Thomas Johann Seebeck, German physicist Seebeck effect, dies at 61. In 1833 Dieudonne-Pascal Pieltain, Belgian composer, dies at 79. In 1842 Rowland Hill, 1st Viscount Hill, British general fought with Wellington at Waterloo, Commander-in-Chief British Army 1828, dies at 70. In 1850 François Sulpice Beudant, French mineralogist and geologist, dies at 63. American geographer, geologist and ethnologist who found the source of the Mississippi River, dies at 71. In 1864 John Carpenter Carter, American Confederate Brigadier General, dies of wounds received at the Battle of Franklin at 26. In 1865 Leopold I, King of Belgium 1831-65, dies at 74. In 1867 Sakamoto Ryōma, Japanese samurai and anti-shogunate revolutionary, assassinated at 31. In 1875 Otogaki Rengetsu, Zen nun, benefactress of Tessai, dies at about 84. In 1877 Federico Ricci, Italian composer, dies at 68. In 1877 Jared Kirtland, American physician, naturalist and reformed penitentiaries, dies at 84. In 1878 Henry Wells, American businessman and founder American Express Co. Wells Fargo Co., dies at 72. In 1888 Marià Obiols, Catalan composer, conductor, music director Gran Teatre del Liceu, 1847-88, and music educator, dies at 79. In 1889 Ludwig Anzengruber, Austrian playwright, dies at 50. In 1890 Ludolf and Jan Wiltzlot van der Biel, Governor-General of the Dutch East Indies 1861-66, dies at 84. Swedish chemist who invented dynamite and founded the Nobel Prize ceremony on this date, dies at 63. In 1906 Nikolai Garin-Mikhailovsky, Russian railroad engineer Trans-Siberian Railway and author T.J. Makartyshev, dies at 54. In 1909 Red Cloud, Sioux Indian chief, dies. In 1910 Pablo Hernández Salsas, Spanish composer, dies at 76. In 1911 Joseph Dalton Hooker, British botanist and director of the Royal Botanical Gardens, Kew, dies at 94. In 1916, Clement Reid, English geologist and paleobotanist, first to suggest a drowned land bridge between Britain and Europe now called Doggerland, dies at 63. In 1920, Horace Elgin Dodge, American automobile manufacturing pioneer, co-founder of Dodge Brothers Company, dies at 52. In 1921, George Aslan, Irish architect noted for his work on churches and cathedrals, dies at 84. In 1921, Victor Jacobi, Hungarian operetta composer Schiebel, dies at 38. In 1924, Auguste Belmont Jr., American financier and construction of New York subway, NY Jockey Club, dies at 71. In 1926, Nikola I, Serbian nationalist and premier over many periods from 1891 to 1926, dies at 80. In 1928, Charles Rennie Mackintosh, Scottish architect, designer, and illustrator, dies at 60. In 1929, Frederick Abberline, British police investigator into Jack the Ripper, dies at 86. In 1931, Max Elskamp, Belgian author and poet, Six Chansons, dies at 69. In 1936, Bobby Abel, English cricket batsman, 13 tests, 2x100, HS 130, 2-0, Surrey CCC, dies at 79. In 1936, Luigi Pirandello, Italian writer, 6 Characters in Search of an Author, Nobel 1934, dies at 69. In 1938, Mario Pilati, Italian composer, dies at 35. In 1939, Wilhelm Gross, Austrian pianist, conductor, classical composer, Africa songs, and popular songwriter, Red Sails in the Sunset, Isle of Capri, dies at 45. In 1941, Colin Kelly, American B-17 Flying Fortress pilot, and first U.S. air hero during Roman II, killed in action at 26 after ordering his crew to bail out shortly before his bomber exploded. In 1944, John Brunt, English soldier and Victoria Cross holder, dies at 22. In 1944, Johnny Marvin, American jazz, pop, and country ukulele player, singer, and vaudevillian, dies of dengue fever at 47. In 1944, Paul Otlet, Belgian author, lawyer and peace activist, created the Universal Decimal Classification Scheme, dies at 76. In 1945, Theodor Dannecker, SS officer and an associate of Adolf Eichmann, dies at 32. In 1949, Duncan Stewart, second British Governor of Sarawak 1949, dies at 45 after being fatally stabbed in the streets of Cebu by pro-Indonesian Malay student Rosli Dobi. In 1951, Algernon Blackwood, English novelist The Willows, dies at 82. In 1953, Abdullah Yusuf Ali, British Indian Islamic scholar and translator, translated Quran into English, dies at 81. In 1958, Adolfo Camarillo, American horse breeder B.1864. In 1958, Julian Gabriels, Belgian physician and art historian who was one of the first female doctors in Belgium, artist Quellen the Elder, Flemish sculptor, dies at 72. In 1959, Charles Jones, West Indian cricket batsman 4.